welcome to this week's TDD Weekly Report for the week ending June 6th. First up, I'd like to congratulate the Queensland Maroons for you Americans out there, and also me. I don't understand rugby too much. That's that game played with the funny looking ball like American NFL football, but the team that is a favorite of Ben's, the Queensland Maroons, won their first of 3 matches. This is called the State of Origin match, so this is the first of 3 matches. They won it. There's going to be 2 more matches for best of 3, so I'm rooting for the Queensland Maroons to take the next match. So that was June 3rd that game was played in, and they won it, so our team's one ahead. Next up, this was sent to me by quite a few people in emails, and also Ben sent me a copy of some of this. There's all kinds of postings on the internet. This English chalk artist named Julian Beaver, and I'll put some of the pictures up here and a link. This was, most of the links were sent to me were from opticalillusions.com, but it's spelled a funny way with a dot between the O and the P, so while you're looking at the pictures here, what I'm going to do is I will put in the comments how to click on opticalillusions.com so that you guys will get right to it. Go to the bottom of the page because there's another set of artwork too. There's 2 sets of it, and if you actually do a Google search on chalk artist Julian Beaver, or just type in the name Julian Beaver, you're going to see a lot of his artwork if you haven't had the privilege of looking at it by people sending you links and downloads in the email. Next up, good news for GM. This is kind of nice. With GM going through a bankruptcy and a lot of people in fear of losing their jobs, the part of GM that builds Saturn has actually been bid on and won by Penske Automotive Group. That's owned by 72-year-old Roger Penske. He's going to keep the Saturn line alive. Now, since they're not a manufacturer themselves, what they're going to do is up until 2011 under contract, they're going to be selling the Saturns that are produced at the Saturn plant, which means those people that work for Saturn still get to keep their jobs. So that is really great. They didn't disclose the exact offer, but they think he paid between 100 and 200 million for the rights to the Saturn name and to keep it alive. So kudos to Penske Automotive Group for keeping GM alive, at least that part of GM alive that makes Saturn, and preserving those jobs for those people. What do you have for us today, Ben?
Thanks, Chuck, and g'day everyone. Australia's last surviving World War I soldier has died, aged 110. Jack Ross enlisted as an 18-year-old and trained as a wireless operator. He also served in World War II. In civilian life, he worked for the Victorian Railways for more than 45 years and retired in 1964. Mr. Ross didn't drink or smoke, but he had a penchant for chocolate. And Jack Ross also had the distinction of being Australia's oldest man. I wonder how many people know that Australia is famous for camels. When Australia was first settled, camels were imported and used by the explorers as pack animals and then released to breed in plague proportions. One solution to the problem was to export them to places like Saudi Arabia, which has been hugely successful. But now a new advertising campaign has begun trying to entice Australians to eat camel meat. University lecturer Peter Dempster claims that if we all eat camel once every 2 weeks, then a new niche market could open up, which would help rid our country of this rural pest. This actually could work, considering that Australians have already taken a liking to kangaroo and crocodile meat. British scientists are lobbying to have a particular shape of cloud named and therefore officially recognised. The British Cloud Appreciation Society want this cloud to be called asperatus, after the Latin word meaning rough. But Sydney's meteorologist Matt Pearce says he doesn't have the foggiest of what the Brits were on about, because that cloud has already been named undulatus, which means wave-like. The Brits have hit back on the Society's website by dismissing Australian skies as being dull and cloudless monotony. Now there's another misconception that people have about Australia, where they believe that all we have are endless sunny days without a cloud in the sky. Well, that's it from me this week. Back to you, Chuck.
Thanks, Ben. And finally, I have a movie review. I took my 10-year-old grandson for his birthday out to see the new Pixar film Up. It's actually a pretty decent 3D film, and for him it was the first time ever seeing a 3D that's the polarized effect, where you don't have to use the multicolored glasses, but you use the polarized glasses so you get the full color effect of the film. I would have to rate it from an adult standpoint. I would have to give the film itself 3 out of 5 stars, but because of the way it was displayed in the cinema, I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. The reason being is some critics have said they didn't like the 2 short previews that you got before, or short films that you saw before the film. I think they actually enhanced it a bit. The first one was a blatant advertisement for a movie coming up about stunt motorcycle riders. These are the small dirt bikes that the guys do stunting. They do mid-air stunts like total 360-degree flips. Sometimes they actually leave the motorcycle in mid-air and do twists and turns and all kinds of acrobatics, and then get back on the bike and land at a ramp. Now, that was done in full 3D effect to advertise an upcoming film, but it was done so well, it really, I think, enhanced the experience. And the second was about a 10-minute 3D animated short, which I mistakenly thought was the beginning part of the movie, but they actually gave you a 10-minute short film to view before it, and it was very well done. If you do get to see it in that manner as a whole, I think I would give the whole experience 4 out of 5 stars. And the reason being is about 45 minutes into the movie, it's slightly over, I think, an hour and a half long. 45 minutes into the movie, I think the story gets to be a little bit draggy. Now, from my grandson's perspective, he liked it a lot and he gave it 5 stars. So I would say for a movie to take your kids to and safe family entertainment, other than the fact if you have very young children that are scared or startled easily, there are some scary parts of the movie that might be a little much for very young kids, but otherwise it's great family entertainment. I'm pretty sure the kids will pretty much all enjoy the film, but for adults, probably be warned the last 45 minutes is a little bit draggy, at least in my opinion, but I welcome other comments and other views too. So that's it for this week. Take care, everybody. I will catch you next week.